Now we're going to move to the first audiovisual portion of our program. I invited members of the Family Steering Committee, which is the group made principally of women who have been widowed in the wake of 9/11. They lost their husbands. I invited Mindy Kleinberg, but she's now a single mom, and she had things to take care of at home in Jersey. But we do have an edited version, about I think it's about 8.5 minutes of her testimony, extraordinary testimony, before the 9/11 Commission on March 31st of last year, 2003. Commissioner Gorelick, Jamie Gorelick, one of the 10 commissioners, the Democrat, said after the testimony by the family members that the family members had provided them a roadmap. Why didn't they follow it? So, for now we'll put on Mindy Kleinberg's testimony last year.
With the United States intelligence agencies has sophisticated software programs that are used in real time to watch both domestic and overseas markets to seek out trends that may indicate a present or future crime. In the week prior to September 11th, both the SEC and U.S. intelligence agencies ignored one major stock market indicator, one that could have yielded valuable information with regard to the September 11th attacks. On the Chicago Board Options Exchange during the week before September 11th, put options were purchased on American and United Airlines, the two airlines involved in the attacks. The investors who placed these orders were gambling that in the short term, the stock prices of both airlines would plummet. Never before on the Chicago Exchange were such large amounts of United and American Airline options traded. These investors netted a profit of several $1 million after the September 11th attacks. Interestingly, the names of the investors remain undisclosed and the millions remain unclaimed in the Chicago Exchange account. Why were these aberrant trades not discovered prior to 9/11? Who were the individuals who placed these trades? Have they been investigated? Who was responsible for monitoring these activities? Have those individuals been held responsible for their inaction? I am holding in the hand some of the applications of the terrorists who killed my husband. All of these forms are incomplete and incorrect. Some of the terrorists listed their means of support as simply student, failing to then list the name and address of any school or institution. Others, when asked about their means of support for their stay in the United States, wrote myself and provided no further documentation. Some of the terrorists listed their destination as simply hotel or California or New York. One even listed his destination as no. Had the INS or the State Department followed the law, at least 15 of the hijackers would have been denied visas and would not have been in the United States on September 11, 2001. Prior to 9/11, FAA and Department of Defense manuals gave clear, comprehensive instructions on how to handle everything from minor emergencies to full-blown hijackings. These protocols dictate that in the event of an emergency, the FAA is to notify NORAD. Once that notification takes place, it is then the responsibility of NORAD to scramble fighter jets to intercept the errant plane. It is a matter of routine procedure for fighter jets to intercept commercial airliners in order to regain contact with the pilot. In fact, between June 2000 and September 2001, fighter jets were scrambled 67 times. If that weren't enough protection, on September 11th, NEADS, or the Northeast Air Defense System of NORAD, was several days into a semi-annual exercise known as Vigilant Guardian. This meant that our Northeast Air Defense System was fully staffed. In short, key officers were manning the Operation Battle Center, fighter jets were cocked, loaded, and carrying extra gas on board. Lucky for the terrorists, none of that mattered on September 11th. American Airline Flight 11 departed Boston Logan Airport at 7:45 a.m. The last routine communication between ground control and the plane occurred at 8:13 a.m. Between 8:13 and 8:20, Flight 11 became unresponsive to ground control. Additionally, radar indicated that the plane had deviated from its assigned path of flight. Soon thereafter, transponder contact was lost. 2 Flight 11 airline attendants had separately called American Airlines reporting a hijacking, the presence of weapons, and the inflictions of injuries on passengers and crew. At this point, it would seem abundantly clear that Flight 11 was an emergency. And yet, according to NORAD's official timeline, NORAD was not contacted until 20 minutes later at 8:40 a.m. Tragically, the fighter jets were not deployed until 8:52 a.m., a full 32 minutes after loss of contact with Flight 11. Why was there a delay in the FAA notifying NORAD? Why was there a delay in NORAD scrambling fighter jets? How is this possible when NEADS was fully staffed with planes at the ready monitoring our airspace? Flight 175, 77, and 93 all had the same repeat pattern of delays in notification and delays in scrambling fighter jets. Delays that are unimaginable considering a plane had, by this time, already hit the World Trade Center. Even more baffling for us is the fact that fighter jets were not scrambled from the closest Air Force bases. For example, for the flight that hit the Pentagon, the jets were scrambled from Langley Air Force in Hampton, Virginia, rather than Andrews Air Force Base right outside D.C. As a result, Washington skies remain wholly unprotected on the morning of September 11th. At 9:41 a.m., 1 hour and 21 minutes after the first plane was hijacked confirmed by NORAD, Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. The fighter jets were still miles away. Why? On September 11th, both the FAA and NORAD deviated from standard emergency operating procedures. Who were the people that delayed the notification? Have they been questioned? In addition, the interceptor planes, or fighter jets, did not fly at their maximum speed. Had the belatedly scrambled fighter jets flown at their maximum speed of engagement, they would have reached New York City and the Pentagon within moments of their deployment, intercept the hijacked airliners before they could have hit their targets, and undoubtedly saved lives. The acting Joint Chief of Staff on September 11th was General Richard B. Myers. On the morning of September 11th, he was having a routine meeting. The acting Joint Chief of Staff stated that he saw a TV report about a plane hitting the World Trade Center, but thought it was a small plane or something like that. So he went ahead with his meeting. Meanwhile, the second World Trade Center was hit by another jet. Nobody informed us of that, Myers said. By the time he came out of his meeting, the Pentagon had been hit. Whose responsibility was it to relay this emergency to the Joint Chief of Staff? Have they been held accountable for this error? Is it luck that aberrant stock trades were not monitored? Is it luck when 15 visas are awarded based on incomplete forms? Is it luck when emergency FAA and NORAD protocols are not followed? Is it luck when a national emergency is not reported to top government officials on a timely basis? To me, luck is something that happens once. When you have this repeated pattern of broken protocols, broken laws, broken communication, one cannot still call it luck.